Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight, we speak gently about you're not greedy for wanting more, not as something new to learn, but as a remembering. What if this was the night it finally landed? What if resting was receiving? What if your dream life wasn't far, just quiet? We do this every night. If this helps you remember who you truly are, you're always welcome here. You don't need to stay awake. Some part of you is already receiving. Let yourself notice the beginning. The hush that signals you are allowed to soften now. Let the world outside blur. The windows of your mind fog up from gentle midnight breath. It's like the universe is exhaling beside you, tucking you back into your original self. Before shame, before stories, before scarcity tied knots around your wanting, as you let go, imagine your body as a wide, soft field at dusk. The air is clean, cool, tinged with the scent of earth after rain. You are the ground and the sky, holding and held, wanting and wanted, all at once. It's safe now. The ache for more was never great. It was the river reaching for the sea, the green shoots stretching towards light, the child's hand reaching for the sun through a kitchen window. Wanting is remembering where you came from. Let this echo. You've spent so long worried that wanting more makes you selfish. But what if wanting was simply the soul coming up for air? What if the deepest parts of you are only asking to be touched by more life? It's the way roots pull water, the way your skin tingles in the presence of gentle wind. You don't need to hold it, even now as you breathe. You can feel the alchemy beginning. There is no rush. Abundance arrives on the quietest nights. The way moonlight finds every surface, even the ones you thought were hidden. Release the old shape of hustle. Imagine your wanting as soft velvet. Not grasping, not urgent, just a slow bloom, like petals uncurling in the blue dark of morning, vulnerable and exquisite, belonging exactly where they are. Let it soften here. There's nothing greedy in the rose opening wider. Nothing selfish in the ocean taking up space along a wild new shore. Even this is part of the remembering. Let yourself notice the way your heart sighs when you realize you are safe to want, safe to be a part of the breathing world, safe to rest into a deeper, wider receiving. Take another breath and see if the room feels a bit softer, if your body has untied itself, just a little. Every inhale is an arrival, every exhale an unburdening. Let this echo. You are not here to memorize a lesson. You are here to let the lesson become the water around you. You are here to float, to listen with the back of your mind, and to let your soul uncoil and drink in what it's always known. It's safe now. Even if you find yourself drifting, know that these words weave into the spaces below thought, where memory reshapes, where identity softens, where longing is met with gentle hands. Every part of you, even the doubting parts, are welcome. There is generosity in stillness, in letting yourself be just as you are, under this invisible moonlight. Let it soften here. Notice how the idea of more can become lighter, less of a hunger clawing, more of a wildflower turning towards what nourishes it. You don't need to hold it. Let tonight be your permission to remember. Wanting more is the most natural thing in the universe. The tides want, the trees want. The stars burn in their wanting. You are made of the same gentle ache for expansion. Even this is part of the remembering. Take one more slow breath, letting all resistance fall away. Imagine warmth spreading through your chest. Quiet and golden, like honey stirred into tea. Gentle sweetness, dissolving the stories that used to feel sharp. Let this echo. You're allowed to rest here, in the place before needing to prove. Before needing to justify your wanting, no one is keeping score. Someone once told you that wanting too much could make you less lovable. But listen to the way the night wraps around the world outside your window. It holds everything, and it makes room for you. To drift if you need to. There is nowhere you need to be but here. Let it soften here. Every quiet wanting is a remembering. Not a mistake. You don't need to hold it. You don't need to stay awake. Some part of you is already receiving. Tonight, maybe the softest part of you aches in a place no one else sees, where you learned desire could be dangerous. Or heavy or too much. Maybe you remember being little, wanting more than what was handed to you, and hearing a sharp word or feeling the hush ripple through your skin. Don't ask, don't need, don't want too much, or you'll become something bad or unworthy or greedy. Sometimes learning to be small feels like safety. Sometimes silence becomes survival. Even now, some small part of you might flinch at how longing lives in your chest. Let it soften here. If you felt yourself tense around hope, if you noticed your breath tighten when the future knocked, maybe desire's just been waiting for permission. The nervous system is ancient, wise, protective. If earlier moments taught you that reaching out might bring pain, ridicule, or loss, your body learned to tuck those dreams deep. The ache became a secret language. The wanting curled up inside you, like a golden bird in a locked cage, close enough to hear, but safer to keep still. Sometimes, what we call laziness or apathy is just a body frozen from hope. Sometimes, it's a quiet wisdom. I won't try if I'm going to be punished for wanting. You don't need to hold it. There's an old memory, maybe, that wants to surface now. Imagine desire like a river behind a dam, building up pressure with every year it goes unnamed. The water is alive. It's always moving, whispering, aching to flow, but concrete rules, family stories, or the world's sharpness hold it back. You grew strong, you built walls, you learned to be grateful for only what trickled through, a few drops instead of the stream you once dreamed. But sometimes at night, the river thunders beneath your ribs, and you wonder what would happen if the dam cracked. Would it ruin everything, or would life finally feel like yours? Let this echo. There's nothing greedy about wanting to bloom, nothing broken in longing for more warmth, more space, more rest. The nervous system doesn't lie. It felt what it felt, and it built safety around those moments. If abundance looked like danger, if someone called it lazy, if someone rolled their eyes at luxury or desire, your beautiful mind took notes. It learned how to protect you by shrinking dreams to size. Sometimes, even love carried a warning: don't reach too far, don't shine too loud. Some families turn hunger into a virtue. The less you want, the safer you are. But your body remembers. Even at rest, even now, some part of you knows there is more. There always was. Even this is part of the remembering. Let desire be as gentle as breath. When you lie in silence, what longings rise? What does your chest whisper when no one's correcting it? Your nervous system might protest. You might feel alert or wary. Even hope can feel unsafe if the world once punished your wanting. So tonight, just notice. Just allow a little space. What if wanting doesn't mean loss? What if it doesn't make you bad or greedy or soft? What if it's the deepest proof that you're alive? Desires are not flaws. They're invitations from a larger self, the part of you tuned to possibility. Let it soften here. Imagine. There is a plant in a pot on a windowsill. It has turned its leaves toward the sun since the day it first sprouted. No one taught it to reach. It's encoded in its cells. When the sun goes away for a few days, the plant droops. not because it's ungrateful, not because it's weak, but because reaching for more is its nature. Imagine if someone told that plant its stretching was greedy. Would it shrink or would it wither in confusion? This is how a human body feels when desire is shamed. Muscles tighten, breath shortens, sleep hides in shallow rhythms. A soul tenses and the body says, nothing more, but every cell remembers the sunlight. You don't need to hold it, even the fear is wise. The ache is an ally. If the world shamed your hunger, your system learned, it is safer to stop asking. But no truth ever dies, it only waits. Tonight, in the quiet, maybe it's safe to notice the flicker of wanting. Maybe your breath can expand just a little as the thought of more moves through. There is nothing broken here, only a system learning that pleasure isn't punishment. That wanting something softer, easier, brighter is just how you're coded to grow. The unfreezing never needs to be rushed. The dam will not burst. It will ease itself open as trust rebuilds in the dark. Let this echo, notice if your jaw loosens as you let one small wish rise. Maybe it's the wish for more rest, for more ease, for abundance you don't have to wrestle for. Maybe it's the simple prayer that your work would feel like a song, not a transaction. None of that is greedy. None of that is wrong. Your nervous system protects you, but it can relearn. Breath by breath, it can remember. There is no danger in being alive to possibility. Tonight, let yourself rest in that. Every longing is a holy pulse, a sign you are still here, still becoming. You do not have to hold your breath. You do not have to close your hands. Even this is part of the remembering. There is a story so old that it lives in the bones, and tonight, it might begin to loosen. Most people don't notice it, not at first. The pressure. The ache in the chest that says, do more, be more, keep going, or you'll lose your chance. It can sound like the hum of a refrigerator or the faint highway, always in the background. Maybe tonight we let that hum grow a little quieter. There may be a memory tracing through you of waking with a rush to prove your value. For some, it's the school morning where the sun rose before you and you hustled to catch up, hoping achievement could buy presence or peace. Maybe it's the inheritance from caretakers who carried their survival as a badge and handed you the idea that worth is what you produce. Let this echo. You might notice how the body guards you here. It remembers every not enough and leans into the old groove, the career, the calendar, the constant doing, all in service of a promise that says, wealth is only for the exhausted. You might wonder what it would be like to set that down. The mind at night works to untangle these knots, even as you sleep. Maybe now something is ready to loosen. Maybe you trace, just gently, the idea that working harder and harder might not actually open the door you want. Maybe you sense how desperate striving brings only more hunger. Like drinking seawater for thirst. Like running to exhaustion in a circle, only to find yourself back at the same starting place. It's safe now. You may have journeyed far under the weight of this old instruction. The command to hustle. It's not just an expectation, but a culture quietly tattooed into how you move, breathe, relate. Even in the stillness of this night, you may feel it flicker in the ribs, the feeling that if you let go, if you rest, if you pause just one moment, you'll be erased. But what if resting means becoming more real? What if the world remembers you because you finally chose yourself? Let it soften here. Nature offers other ways of knowing. A tree does not force its roots. It does not clamor to outgrow the grove next to it. Still, it thrives. Rivers don't apologize for their curves as they seek the sea. Sunflowers turn slow, never hurrying the hour, and yet all arrive at gold in time. In you is this same pattern. Wealth, true wealth, is not the medal weighted at the finish line by sweat alone. It is the quietness that settles when you trust what grows in rest. Even if you drift, this still lands. Have you ever felt the ache when you finish a long day, having done so much, and yet inside is a hollow, a tightness? It's not failure. It's your deeper knowing asking for relief. The sacred lie of hustle is that if you work hard enough, you'll finally relax. But the body can only relax when it senses safety, and nothing outside you grants that safety for long. Wealth is not given to those who outrun their terror. It returns slowly to those who feel safe enough to receive it. Release your grip now. Remember moments, maybe small ones, where effort felt like breathing. Like the times when creation came without effort, when hours passed and you were both nowhere and everywhere. This is what aligned energy feels like. It is the difference between swimming against the current and drifting downstream, letting the water remember for you. It is not laziness. It is trust in a design older than fear. Let yourself arrive again. Even this is part of the remembering. You might have been taught to glorify busy, to tape "I'm so productive" to your heart and hope the world salutes. But even the sun sets, even the garden lies fallow. This is nature's wealth cycle. You are not a machine. Your value expands most when aligned with natural rhythm, not calendar squares or blinking red notifications. Sometimes, what is most needed is subtraction. Subtract the plans, the grinding schedules, even the need to be seen hustling. What would you be if no one was watching? Imagine those moments at childhood dusk, when you wandered off the path just to feel the cool around your ankles. Remember how easy it was to exist inside wonder. You didn't have to justify being alive back then, and you do not now. Let this echo. Old beliefs can feel sticky. Thoughts like, if I stop, I'll fall behind, or if I rest, I will miss the reward. But life has shown you again and again. The very best things arrive when you're not chasing. Love arrives in silence. Insight dawns in showers. Creative wealth comes when you're brushing crumbs from a table, tuning out, drifting off. Surrender is not giving up, it's letting in. Let it soften here. Hustle culture says, do more to become more. But your soul whispers, you already are. You do not create worth by striving, you reveal it by allowing. When the soul is peaceful, work becomes a channel, not a cage. Productivity then arises as a gift of presence, not proof of existence. Let yourself know this difference in your bones. It's safe now. Sometimes, rest is the most radical wealth. Imagine a night where you do not rehearse unfinished lists, where your only task is to feel the pillow meeting your skin, to let your breath drop, to remember the animals who sleep without guilt. You are allowed this stop, and in this stopping, what you seek might finally seek you. Let this echo. All your ancestors were asked to hustle. Some did so out of need, others out of habit. You carry both their longing and their fatigue. But you are not their conditions, you are the next remembering. You get to choose which stories to put down, which to let soften, which to nourish. It's all safe to revisit, even in sleep. Let it soften here. You may feel echoes of the old hustle ghost in the back of the mind, questioning, what about tomorrow? But for tonight, let tomorrow be the ocean, and now be the sand. Let all urgency settle like dusk. You might fall asleep longing, or wake with a new question. But your worth does not shapeshift in the night. It waits unchanged. Even if you drift, this still lands. Every hour you rest, you teach the old story that you will not disappear if you do less. Every breath that grows slower is a message to the nervous system. Here, ease is allowed. The new rhythm is not denial of effort, but devotion to alignment. When action grows from deep peace, it multiplies. When pressure evaporates, power grows back. Let this echo somewhere. Part of you remembers how nothing happened when you paused, except the air grew sweeter. The lie of hustle was never about truth, but about survival. Now, with enough safety, let that story change. Let the deeper wisdom in your marrow begin to surface. Nothing good flees when you rest. Let it soften here. Tonight, you do not have to hustle. Tonight, you may simply lay down the record of striving. Let your mind open like a field after storm. You are entrusted with a rhythm that loves you back. The real wealth is what arises when nothing is forced. You don't need to hold it. Sleep now inside a new story. Even as dreams dance, let your body remember you are richer when you rest. You are already inside the answer. Hustle is not the key, presence is the door. Even this is part of the remembering. Stillness isn't emptiness. It isn't waiting for life to begin. It isn't the pause before something better shows up. It's the soil that lets everything root, the gentle hush that comes over the garden just before dawn, the place every true thing grows first, in secret and in soft focus. It's easy to believe that wealth, and all the good we long for, must be earned by moving quickly, by outpacing others, by constantly doing more. We're taught that if we slow down, riches will slip past and will be left behind. But what if this is only the old noise echoing? What if it's a kind of fever dream? What if the real truth is quieter and closer than we thought? Let it soften here. The old part of you may remember days when rushing felt important, when staying busy made the ache feel smaller, and being still brought up a worry you couldn't quite name. That worry that if you rest, you'll lose ground, lose favor, lose yourself. But listen, the trees don't race each other, yet the largest oak sees the most sun. River water doesn't hurry to its destination. It lets gravity and the landscape unfold its path. It's safe now. There's a light that only comes when all is quiet. That golden haze just before evening, when the world seems to hold its breath and every color glows a little brighter. Have you ever noticed how abundance feels in those moments? There's no chasing, no scrambling or proving, just a sense of sufficiency, like each leaf is exactly where it needs to be, like the world is, somehow, already more than enough. Let this echo. The animals understand stillness. A deer pausing just inside the tree line, listening, legs steady and soft. Birds resting on a bough, silent, letting the sun comb through their feathers. In those moments, nothing needs to be fixed. They already belong. That frequency, that rightness, is a kind of wealth, not measured by more, but by presence. Let yourself drift with this. You don't need to hold it. Even this is part of the remembering. Stillness and abundance are woven together, like roots beneath the surface of forest. The richest soil is always quietest. It cradles the seeds, holds the water, demands nothing but patience and faith. When you let yourself settle, you match that deeper rhythm. You become the field, not just the wind blowing through it. It's safe now. There's a reason the ocean's surface seems most luminous at dawn. And for a few slow heartbeats, the waves go glassy, the whole horizon softens, and that's when the first light finds its way in, painting gold on the water. When you allow stillness, when you pause instead of pushing forward, you become that horizon. You call in illumination, ideas, insights, blessings, all the things that can only find you when you are still enough for them to land. Let it soften here. You don't need to chase ease. It was never running from you. Just as clouds don't force the rain, abundance comes when the conditions are gentle enough to welcome it. It's okay if this feels strange, if part of you is still learning the shape of this safety. You can take your time. The river never rushes its own flow. The field isn't less a field when winter makes it barren for a while. And if your mind drifts to old habits, that's all right. You learned them for a reason. There's a part of you that wanted to be safe, wanted to belong, thought that busyness was the ticket to worth. You did nothing wrong. You can release that now. Let this echo stillness is not inaction, it's a frequency. It tunes you to the right channel, the one where synchronicities find you and doors unlock without force. Sometimes, what seems like nothing is actually everything aligning. Like seeds dormant all winter, gathering secret energy for spring like morning mist, invisible then everywhere, reaching every leaf and root in the quietest possible way. It's safe now. Notice how your breath changes when you remember this. How each inhale grounds you a little more, and each exhale eases the old tension out. Wealth isn't only measured by numbers or by the rush of gaining more. Sometimes receiving looks like letting go, opening your palms, allowing what's meant for you to arrive on its own time. Let it soften here. There's a gentleness to trust. Like watching the tide ebb and flow, knowing it will always return. A stillness is the surrender that brings new things to shore. You can rest. You can exhale. Abundance does not respond to force, it responds to invitation, the kind whispered by a calm heart. Even if you drift, this still lands. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be powerful. Sometimes the most profound shift is quiet, like sunlight streaming through the trees, like dew collecting on petals you weren't watching bloom. It happens because you made space, because you gave permission. Let this echo. If the night feels still, let it hold you. If there's noise in your mind, let it fade like rain clouds passing behind the moon. You can trust your own pace. You can trust what's arriving. The deepest remembering always comes in silence, when you are most yourself. Even this is part of the remembering. Sometimes the world whispers that struggle is proof of worth, as if sweat and strain were the only currencies of belonging, but somewhere in your cells, there's an old knowing that life, too, I can open gently, that rivers don't push to be rivers, that tulips unfold without apology or announcement. There's a strange secret held beneath so many hearts, a quiet ache when things come easy, a shadow of guilt. A faint but prickling, like ease, is a hidden crime, as if you must have forgotten something or someone, as if luck was borrowed or undeserved. It's safe now. There is nothing shameful about waking to sunlight, about breathing without effort, about letting sweetness settle in your lap. Even this is part of the remembering. Sometimes, when the world is gentle to you, your mind sifts through old debts. Did I do enough to earn this? Did I leave someone behind? Did I skip a step, make it too easy on myself? The body tenses just a little, curling in on itself, just enough to feel undeserving. Let it soften here. Your nervous system is coded with stories from long before you chose them. Stories about sweat and sacrifice and the cost of ease, and it makes sense to bristle a little. To mute your own grace, to tighten around joy. No one really taught you how to stay soft when life opens, but notice the animals who stretch in the sun. The children who sleep through summer afternoons. There is no worry in their ease. It's not your fault you learn to tense when life is kind. Let this echo. Feel how your shoulders hold a memory of old labor, love earned on tiptoe, survival by good behavior. Even if you drift, this still lands. Sometimes, ease feels dangerous because it's unfamiliar. The nervous system prefers the ache it knows. even when rest would be safer. So much of the work is simply being with yourself as you reach a new edge, letting your tissue learn a new softness. Let this echo, you don't need to hold it. You can let gentleness show up and not brace for its ending. Imagine the body night after night, rewiring, quietly realizing it is safe to receive, even when the world is not asking for it back. Breathe, and let it soften here tonight. Maybe your body is a field at dusk, nothing left to do, only to become. The earth does not shame itself for growing quietly, for letting water return where it is needed. The tree does not apologize for bloom after frost. You don't need to hold it. It's okay if it's easy. Ease is not denial of effort. It's just permission, the soft letting in of goodness, the natural gravity of abundance. Sometimes ease is the signal you are in right relationship with your soul. Let your jaw unclench, let your heart unclench. Even the most precious things, love, rest, devotion, can feel simple when you remember how to let them. Recall a memory. Waking some morning with nothing demanded of you, just the brightness that greets your face before thought. The air enters willingly. The day is neutral, kind. All the systems in your body have practiced tension. Tonight, they practice a little more ease. Let this echo. It's okay for the breath to come soft and slow, for the rhythms of your heart to slow without warning or proof. Sometimes, your joy may seem like a betrayal, as if permitting yourself to float means someone else must sink, but one person's lightness does not cause another's burden. There is room. You don't need to hold it. Even the guilt is welcome. It, too, is a thread in the tapestry, but you can let it loosen, strand by strand, breath by breath. Tonight, your body can find refuge in the sensation of having nothing extra to prove. Let this echo at first. The mind will scan for the threat, for the old bargain. If things are easy, something must be lost. But what if what you feared losing is not belonging, but the tension itself? Let it soften here. Ease is not absence of meaning, nor ignorance of pain. It is just a new translation of abundance, one that the body learns slowly, safely, silently. This resting is not laziness. This receiving is not avoidance. It is a return to the place all aliveness originates. Ease without guilt, belonging without effort, softness as your birthright. It's safe now. Even this is part of the remembering. Somewhere inside, a familiar clock ticks louder when the world gets quiet. It counts moments you can't name, and numbers you never meant to keep track of. Maybe it's a calendar in your chest. Maybe it's a silent ache in the way you notice other people's mile markers, wondering if yours got lost or delayed, or if they were ever really there at all. The first soft truth: there is no cosmic scoreboard, no one watching, no ceremony for on time, no punishment for a different rhythm, only seasons, only tide, only breath. This matters because your life is not a contest, and your spirit was never made to run somebody else's race. Like a garden that grew while you were sleeping, like oceans that pull back before they gather, like the moon that takes her time, invisible for nights, only to return whole. Even if you can't see the growth, even if you think you're late, most of what's becoming happens in secret. Let this echo, that pressure, that should be further by now sensation. It only exists because you care about your journey. It only arrives for hearts wide enough to hope and to compare. But your hope isn't a flaw, and your care for timing isn't proof you're broken. Sometimes it's just the way the body asks, is it safe yet to receive what I'm really calling in? Like the slow turning of a key that only works when it's ready, like seeds that ignore all human deadlines and just move toward the sun, like days that get longer in summer because the earth simply lines in. Even this is part of the remembering. It's safe to let go of the idea that you're missing out on your life. Nothing important is ever truly missed. Sometimes the invitation goes out at midnight, written in dreams, answered by a quieter self. It's not about being fast. It's about being true, like waiting for rain that arrives only when your roots are thirsty, never before, like music that pauses before the biggest note, holding space for you to feel like footprints on sand, washed away, but the walk itself remains in your bones. Let it soften here. What has been growing in you has not been wasted. The time you say you lost is often time your soul was listening, learning, gathering. The world calls it delay, but your spirit knows how to trust a different tempo. There is no late arrival, only opening, only now. Like a candle that only glows when the room goes dark, like a tide that refuses to rush, like a conversation that finds you ready, not a moment before. Let this echo, you are right on time for your own life. There's no such thing as missing your window. Every detour, every pause, every backward step is folded into the bigger pattern. It matters because you can release the old pressure now, the strain of always running, always proving, always questioning if you measure up. Like leaves falling in their own season, never rushed by the wind, like a city street that goes quiet before dawn, letting space find you, like a letter that arrives just when you thought it was forgotten. Let yourself drift for a breath. Every time you've compared, counted, waited, worried, none of it has changed your worth. The urge to catch up only means you are ready to receive more, not that you've failed. Let your next breath be an unclenching, like stretching awake after a long rest, each muscle remembering itself, like sunlight through a window, shifting shadows across your room, like a shell softening in sand, shaped by waves without noticing. You don't need to hold it. Each moment you thought you missed, each chance you think you lost, they rest with you now, quietly unclaimed but not gone. Your life is not a train schedule. You are not behind. You are living through your seasons, and the invitation has always been open. Let this echo, and with it, let go. Your story is an unfolding, not a report card. You aren't tracked, graded, or assigned meaning by invisible hands. The seasons of receiving are as real as those of waiting. You are neither lagging nor late. You are listened to by the universe, who knows how and when you are ready. Like spring after the longest winter, every color slow to open like music at midnight, unhurried, deep, like wonder returning in its own way, soft and unannounced. It's safe now. Breathe and let each truth sink in deeper, all at once, or piece by piece. Your soul is remembering. There's no timeline but your own. When it is time, it will be time, and nothing can stop arrival meant for you. And for now, let waiting feel like receiving, and let slowness feel like softness. Like the first breath after a rain, air heavy with possibility, like a star hidden by morning, still blazing in the dark like a seed that becomes a forest quietly in its own season. You are not late to your life. You are right on time. Let it soften, let it settle, let go. There is a quiet truth beneath all the noise, the kind of truth you sometimes catch in the hush between questions, or in that gentle pull to exhale after a long day. Your worth isn't a number or a finish line you keep racing toward. It doesn't shrink when you rest, or bloom just because you tried harder, somewhere inside, beneath the layers of stories and striving. You've always known this, and tonight, maybe you let yourself listen a little closer to that knowing. It's safe now, because what you are isn't something to prove or maintain or churn out in endless loops. It's more like the soft way a meadow remembers how to grow, or how the ocean swells at midnight. needing no witness, or the way the air just exists enough whether it's seen or not. Your value is like that. It matters because it's felt, not counted, not measured. Even this is part of the remembering. There's a story a lot of us learned, a story that says value means effort, and rest is a debt you pay with guilt. But a different kind of abundance lives here, where effort isn't always required, where breathing softens the pulse of needing to earn, where softness can be more nourishing than striving ever was. Let it soften here, sometimes. The soul can start to believe it is only as good as its latest output, the world whispers. Show me your gold, show me your list. Show me the pieces you've carved from your own wanting, but there's a deeper song underneath, like the garden that grew without being watched, like the way water knows where to flow, like a prayer you didn't know you were praying. Receiving isn't something you perform, being is not something you prove. Let this echo. You might remember moments, a window open at dusk. The world hushed, nothing required of you but to breathe and feel warmth and watch the sky change. That was enough. You were enough. Then, like the hush after laughter, the way candlelight glows without effort, the feeling of being held just because you exist, even if you drift, this still lands. There is a freedom that has nothing to do with production. It's the freedom to just be held by the experience of existing, to let the day be, to let yourself be. This is wealth, not the kind you chase or perform for, but the deep exhale that knows everything sacred can't be counted or spent. You don't need to hold it, like how a stone finds comfort in the riverbed no matter the current, like a tree rooted in spring. A trusting warmth without demanding bloom, like the patient way the moon waits to be seen. Whether watched or not, that's your worth. It's safe now. Why does this matter? Because when worth becomes tied to effort and output, the body forgets how to rest. Desire gets tight, joy feels suspicious, like you have to earn it before you taste it, and yet, that's not the realness you crave. You crave being received by your own life. Fully, quietly, effortlessly, like driftwood washed to shore. Smoothed, softened, not because it tried, but just because it let itself move and be moved. Let it soften here. What if there is nothing left to chase tonight? What if there is only this being, this moment? Let this echo. You don't have to keep efforting your way into abundance. You don't have to clench or climb or prove to finally arrive. Abundance isn't a mountain you scale. It's the earth beneath you, holding you whether you're running or resting. This is the difference between effortful and effortless abundance. Effortful abundance is the meal you fight to afford, the breath you ration, the rest you deny until all the work is done. Effortless abundance is the wild apple that grows beside the path, freely, and the air you breathe without measuring. It's being loved because you are, not because you manage to keep performing. Let this echo a little softer, a little deeper. Even this is part of the remembering. You belong not because of your output, but because you exist. Let this settle in your chest like a small, gentle animal, a quiet presence. Curled in safety, release the expectation, release the tallying, release the myth that more hustle means more love or more life. You don't need to hold it. You are worthy already. Your being is enough. You are enough. Let that truth rise and fall with your breath. Slow and easy, it's safe now. There are emotions tucked beneath the surface that rarely meet the daylight, echoes and murmurs that still remember moments. Wealth felt heavy, sharp, or too far out of reach. Tonight isn't about chasing something new or fixing what was never broken. It's about letting the roots loosen, a gentle clearing of the residue that so quietly shapes your receiving, sometimes without ever being named. There is a knowing in you that has felt the envy, brushing up like cold mist when others had more. Zor seemed to, in a world that made comparison feel as natural as breathing. There is also the tug of guilt, woven through moments you wanted more, without understanding why's the way. A soft breeze carries both wanting and worry, mixing them until it's hard to tell one from the other. Sometimes, even before you could name money, you sensed that having too much meant someone else went without, or that your dreams might take space they weren't meant to take. It's safe now. Let the muscles in your jaw soften, shoulders melting just a little heavier into the mattress. If worth felt tangled with what you could earn, buy or provide, let the old wires loosen, one thread at a time like knots in a necklace, easing open with steady, patient hands, even the unworthiness, the shadow that said, "Not for me, never for me," deserves gentle company tonight. It only learned its shape from echoes passed down. It is not you, let this echo. Remember how a garden grows even when no one is watching, how the moon waxes fuller in silent sky, how water returns to the ocean, always welcomed, never questioned, that envy, the guilt, the hush of unworthiness. They arrive like weather, but weather was never meant to stay. They teach, they signal, but they do not define. It's okay to let your breath move slower now, in the out, each cycle loosening what was never meant to be yours forever. Release even the fear that letting go means forgetting. Your body and soul never forget what matters most. Wealth is not a contest, nor a punishment. Some nights the memory returns, the tension around having, the script inside that says, "What will they think if I allow more for me?" Let it soften here, like the hush before dawn when the world pauses, like the gentle thaw of winter where streams begin again, like dew that gathers on grass. Neither forced nor withheld. It's safe now, even in remembering, to feel the ache that tries to guard you from disappointment. Sometimes abundance felt like a light too bright to claim, as if standing in it meant casting shadows on those you love. But that light was never owned, only reflected. You don't need to hold it, it's possible, right here, right now, to sit in neutrality, to let the stories unwind. The comparisons dissolve. The guilt drop away like leaves in autumn. Let this echo, like rain washing dust from windows, like the quiet after laughter, like arms outstretched and nothing asked in return. You learned so much about money before you could speak its meaning, stories handed to you quietly, with looks, with sighs in the anxious hush at the kitchen table, or the way others talked about wanting and fearing in the same breath. That emotional weight isn't truth, but retelling. Let it soften here as you drift. Imagine the blocks that seemed solid now loosening, bricks dissolving in the softness of your own gentle attention. There was always a seed beneath every stone, a current beneath every dam. You don't need to hold it. Even the resistance to letting go wants only to keep you safe, but it's safe now. Safer still to remember how worthy you always were, like planting a tree and trusting the roots to find what they need, like a melody that repeats, softer each time, until it becomes the air itself, like resting in the arms of someone who loves you. No game to win, no mask to wear. Let this echo. You are right to want more. It is natural to feel your desire is simply memory returning. A calling home. Let the imprints of old emotions loosen tonight. Their only purpose was to speak, to warn, and to teach, but you are allowed to release the contract now, allowed to exist with or without their weight. Let it soften, take a slow breath. If shame arrives, remind it you are a living thing. Not a number or a roll worth is not proof earned by effort, but a return to center, like a sky that brightens with each new dawn, like a river that redeems all it carries, like a shell gathering the ocean, not by striving, just by being open. Even this is part of the remembering. Let it echo one more time. It is safe to let go of the old residue, the emotional echoes, the stories that were never yours. You are not the guilt or the envy or the ache of wanting. You are the space big enough to hold all of it and let it pass through. Let the rhythm of your breath be the keys. Inhale, imagine the feeling rise. Exhale, let it melt down through the soles of your feet. Inhale, let the memory surface. Exhale, offer it to the ground, to the earth that can hold what you outgrow. As you drift further, know that the clearing has already begun. Even if sleep comes or thoughts wander, your system still knows how to unclench, how to clear, how to let warmth and worthiness retake the space. Let this echo, let it soften here. Your only job now is to rest and let the soil be turned, making fertile ground for what you choose. By morning, something lighter awaits. It's safe now. There's something ancient about the way you've traveled this far, how every night of longing reshaped you, how every wish for more rested in your chest like another unspoken prayer. Every breath, every sigh, a reminder that you've already been countless things, abundant, gentle, starved, safe. Sometimes all at once, layered and folded into the same night. Receiving is not a badge you pick up only when you've earned it. It's not a trophy at the end of a marathon of self-improvement. It's more like the tide returning, or the moon slipping back from new to full, following a rhythm older than your ambitions, more loving than your reasons. There have been moments, small, unremarkable to anyone else, where something good found its way to you, and you hardly noticed. The warmth of a stranger's glance, the way a song met you at the perfect moment. Even now, your body remembers the safety of those moments, stitched deep into muscle memory, hiding under all the tightenings. It's safe, every now and then, to loosen just a bit. Let this echo. You do not have to keep your fists closed around the things you've been given. You do not have to prove that you are receptive. No amount of vigilance makes you softer. It only teaches the nervous system to brace, to wait for lack, to expect another winter. So tonight we practice a different way. Receiving is a muscle, but not when you strain. It's supple, like lungs opening for breath after a long pause. It recalls how to expand and soften on its own. When you stop bracing, the memory returns. The pattern of yes softens everything inside. Even this is part of the remembering. There is no clock ticking down. Wholeness is in no rush. Abundance waits without tapping its foot. Sometimes your only job is to unclench the hope you've been gripping and let one small place in you go quiet. Imagine grass after rain, not forcing itself to grow, just swelling, taking in, humming. You do not force the dawn, but you trust it will come. Like sunlight on eyelids, you don't have to convince yourself to receive it, just happens, once the body feels safe again. Let this echo. You're not here to master receiving in a single night or to crack some elusive code. You're here to remember a skill you practiced as a child, before anyone pressed urgency into your days. Babies don't wake in hunger and wonder if they're worthy. Trees do not debate whether they deserve the rain. Receiving is first nature. The rest was learned later with tension. What if tonight something in you can drop the job of being on guard, the job of proving, earning, striving? Receiving returns in the stillness, under the conversation, deeper than words. It's a feeling, a weight shifting off the chest, a room inside you filling with gentle oxygen. breathe. You don't need to hold it. Notice how your hands feel. Not the urge to reach or grasp or fix, but how they pulse with simple aliveness. Even stillness here is a kind of having. This is the pattern you are unlearning, the belief that arrival means effort or suffering, or being the last one left holding the dishes. Sometimes it's enough to be present with the wanting, not chasing it down, not locking it away. Sometimes noticing a softness is enough. Even this is part of the remembering. Every nervous system wants, more than anything, to recognize safety. The world trained you in vigilance, but rest is how you recall what abundance felt like before you forgot. Soften your forehead, release your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Find the silent places, inside and around you, noticing where holding can become opening. As the breeze finds an open window, as the river finds every divot in the rock, so goodness finds you when you unclench. There is no exam at dawn, nothing to prove when the only audience is your own, listening soul. Even if the mind wanders, even if your vigilance creeps in, that's part of the practice. Remind yourself. You don't have to memorize anything for it to work. Your body already knows. Let it soften here. And what would it be like to trust that the world is not waiting for you to perform in order to receive? That giving and receiving are not separate rivers, but the tide going out and the tide coming in, always part of each other, never truly divided. You don't have to be someone else to be worthy. You don't have to earn through burning effort. What if the next inhale brought relief from the equation and left you simply open, even for a moment? Even this is part of the remembering. The wanting is proof that you're alive, not a curse to be healed. The softening is the real receiving. It isn't a thought you think, it's a current that runs through you, as old as your name. It carries memory and mystery and every good thing you almost missed. You don't need to remember this by morning, your body already has. Tonight, some gentle visualization, close your eyes if you wish, or just let your gaze be soft. Picture yourself under a velvet sky, no urgency, no audience. The grass beneath you is warm with memory, a gentle hush moves in the air. Imagine the feeling of being held by the landscape, no person to win over, nothing to prove, only the quiet, supportive presence of night. The breeze reminds you. You're allowed to let down your guard. You're allowed to let all the striving fall away. Let yourself feel the support of the earth below you, the invisible arms, the subtle safety, the ancient reassurance. The world is not asking anything of you, not right now. You can return again and again to this softness. You can let this be enough. Let this echo, even this, is part of the remembering. And close your eyes if you'd like. Let yourself imagine this. It's dusk, and golden light melts over a stretch of high grass, each blade catching the last sunlight. You are barefoot, feeling the hush of earth under each step, so grounded, so tenderly real. The sky is open above you, soft and holding, the gentle breath of summer all around. Every step is a small prayer. You feel the world seeing you, the air, the grass, the distant trees, seeing all of you, not for what you've done, but for who you simply are. You feel the way the sun's glow touches you, not hiding, not shrinking, but mating it, feeling it, letting it be received. In this golden field, nothing follows you but the beating of your heart, in time with the evening. There is nowhere to go but here, no face to wear but your own, or maybe you see yourself floating, carried by warm water, the surface like a mirror reflecting the sky. You melt back, arms wide, belonging utterly to the moment, safe in your own quiet power. The world is so vast, and here, being seen means nothing more than resting, trusting the water to hold all of you. There's a permission to exhale, to let the current know your name, to rest in the knowing that your enoughness is woven into the world. It's safe now, or maybe you are somewhere familiar, sitting with someone who has always loved the real you. No performance, no need to explain. Your laughter exists for its own sake. Your abundance is not measured, just mirrored back in their eyes, a reflection of all that is already more than enough. Even in quiet, you feel so seen, as if the soul itself can unclench, lay down its old protections. Let this echo. There is a breath here where you realize there is nothing to hide. Not your light, not your dreams, not your desires. They are not too much. They were never too much. Even this is part of the remembering. You are safe to be visible in your abundance. You are safe to be visible in your abundance. Being seen in your joy is safe. Being seen in your joy is safe. Your desires are beautiful. Your desires are beautiful. To receive and be witnessed is a sacred right. To receive and be witnessed is a sacred right. My enoughness shines through me. My enoughness shines through me. I am met. I am held. I am met. I am held. It's safe to let the world see your true self. It's safe to let the world see your true self. Abundance is your natural state. Abundance is your natural state. Receiving is safe. Receiving is safe. Receiving is safe. There's a stillness that happens at night, when the world forgets to rush, and the body unpacks the weight of a day you may not even realize you're carrying. The edges blur, the loudness fades. And what's left is just you, and the breath you came with. Quiet is not empty. Spaciousness is not absence. Each pause in the dark is a door that only opens when everything softens. Sometimes, it takes everything else falling away for the real desire to come to the surface. Sometimes, in the hush between thoughts, the truer longing finally feels brave enough to speak. Maybe you've been waiting for a sign or a voice, but abundance, more often than not, waits for you here, where there's room for it to arrive without having to compete with noise. Even if your mind wanders tonight, these words will wait for you. Spaciousness is the language of your deeper self, the oldest, most fluent way of knowing. It's safe now. Can you remember the last time you felt surrounded by true quiet? Maybe alone in your home, or outside in the early morning when no one else was awake. That thick, padded kind of silence, like a gentle wrap, no obligations, no requests from the world. Now just you and the honest, uninterrupted whisper of what you want. That's where new supply lives. Not in frenzied searching, but in the kind of slow that lets your nervous system find its feet. If you listen slow enough, you'll start to hear the difference between old lack and new possibility. Maybe your body remembers the way grass sways in wind, not rushing to get anywhere, but receiving the full expanse of the sky, or the way a pond reflects only when the ripples settle, or how a room feels bigger in the evening when lamps are lit. Let this echo. Spaciousness isn't the absence of doing, it's the presence of trust. The quiet is not forcing you to be still. It's giving you back your own rhythm. When the world pauses, your heart finally hears its own beat. How often have you run to fill an empty moment? How many times have you numbed the itch of silence because it sounded like loneliness, when maybe it was actually longing? It's so easy to think stillness means you're stuck, but sometimes stillness is a wide-open field, the kind that grows wildflowers overnight. Let it soften here. Notice the next breath, how slow it wants to go. No one's chasing you now. No one is asking for more. The only task is to listen without trying to make sense of what comes up. Spaciousness is a practice, not a performance. A gentle promise to yourself that you will make room for what is real, even if it whispers. Maybe your soul has been waiting for permission to pause. Maybe your abundance has been trying to reach you, but there was no room before to let it land. Like the moonlight that spills into a dark room only when the curtains are drawn, there are gifts waiting for the windows of your mind to open. You don't need to hold it. Slow is sacred. Spacious is sacred. In the stretch of a quiet night, what if you could believe that everything you seek is also seeking you? No need to chase, rush, or collect. Just allow, like a meadow after rain, or the hush after thunder, or the feeling of being wrapped in soft sheets, knowing you do not have to move. Abundance expands in stillness because stillness makes space, not just in your schedule, but in your heart, in your inner landscape. It loosens the grip of scarcity. It opens doors that your mind forgot were there. Growth does not always sound like action. Sometimes it sounds like breath, like soft laughter from another room, like rain falling on leaves, the tiniest movements, barely noticed, calling life forward. Even this is part of the remembering. Rest doesn't mean shutting off desire. It means making room for desire to bloom in a way that doesn't burn you out. Stillness lets you feel the difference between hunger and habit. It lets you hear the difference between what's loud and what's true. In the quiet, you can finally sense when enough is enough. Spaciousness is your soul setting the table for something more. It is the clearing before a blessing, the empty space where all things become possible. Stay with this breath a little longer. Let yourself feel how it expands inside your chest. Notice the invisible support beneath you, holding all of you, waiting for nothing in return. Notice the way the silence wraps around your thoughts, making room for a new story to form. Even if old patterns echo, even if scarcity whispers, spaciousness repeats, there's more than enough, there's always more than enough. Let this quiet fill you, let it anchor in your bones, and when morning comes, even if you remember nothing, let the knowing rest inside your body, the sensation of space, the feeling of enough, the gentle truth that abundance will always find you when you make room to listen. Drift beneath the surface now, not as an escape, but as a release from everything that whispered you were missing something. What if tonight you remembered that you are already enough to receive? What if the idea wasn't heavy, wasn't even new? What if it was like turning over in bed, finding the spot where warmth waits for you, where your body sighs and says, "I'm home." Let yourself settle in. Let the world's story of lack loosen around your heart. Every inhale a bit softer, every exhale a little slower. Even if thoughts spin for a while, even if sleep comes slow, you don't have to do anything to be worthy of this peace. You can invite in that truth the way you'd invite in gentle rain. You can let it touch your forehead, your chest, your hands. You can let it remind the quiet places inside. Right now, you are already enough to receive. Right now, you are already enough to receive. Let this echo, there's nowhere to get, nothing to fix in this moment. Like how the moon doesn't argue its own light. Like the stars don't compare their shine. Like rivers don't rush for permission, they simply find the ocean, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. You don't have to grip, prove, or hurry. The evidence of your enoughness has already bloomed, quietly, all around you. Every breath you take, every time your heart remembers safety, it is proof. Even if your mind forgets, your breath remembers. Even if you drift, this truth lands. Notice how enoughness lives in your body temperature, in the way your hands rest when you finally let go. See if you can let your shoulders fall a little heavier onto the pillow. See if you can give yourself to gravity, as if the earth is saying, "You are held, you are enough, you can receive now." You don't need to hold it, it's safe to want what you want. It's safe to have needs, to hope, to ache, to long for abundance bigger than you've felt before. Nothing about your longing is a flaw. It's the North Star, a way forward drawn by soul, not scarcity. Even this is part of the remembering. It's all welcome here, the slow mornings, the rushed goodbyes, the wondering at midnight if there's more than this. You can breathe into the places you keep hidden, the part that wonders if there's still time, if you can still return. Let those questions float for now, like dandelion seeds over tall grass. Wind will carry them somewhere gentle. Let it soften here. You are already enough to receive. You are already enough to receive. Notice how your breath stretches into the silence after each word. Imagine warmth gathering at your feet. See if you can let heaviness seep out of your jaw, your forehead, your belly. No more tension needed. Fears that you'll miss it or don't deserve it are just echoes from another time. You can let them pass through you like a tide.